I told Jens. Did I tell Jens this? I've been doing like sit-ups lately when I get
Oh,
home.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm a little
Yeah,
sore.
trying to
All right, but here we go. Here we go.
bulk up for Ashley.
All right. All right. Well, we're live, but lit.
Good, 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 good.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah.
That's not gonna make the cut. All right. Three, two, one. What's going on, guys? It's Astros here, and welcome back to episode 245 of the League of Legends Anonymous podcast. I'm here with some old friends of mine, but for new voices for you guys. I'm here with Jensos. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really glad to be on the TFT Anonymous podcast, episode 245.
And I'm also here with Hash. Hopefully, it doesn't give as bad of an intro as that.
No, it's gonna be worse. So buckle up. Uh,
It'll come at you unexpectedly at some point during the
yeah,
podcast.
about a half hour into the show.
Ooh, spicy.
I mean, I don't know if I'd want it
Uh,
any other way.
I just terrible league player for way too long, and somehow this game just hit me in the right way, and I feel like I'm succeeding.
Dude, I
Where
looked
in
you up
every
and
other game I fail.
you're platinum in TFT already.
Yeah. I think we're hitting diamond this weekend.
Oh my goodness, man.
I'm still waiting for us to just get like a stacked lobby, and then everyone just throws so I can climb.
Astros, I don't think we can do it with you because you're only silver in TFT. So
We literally just played a game together, you fucking idiot.
yeah. And what'd you come in?
Fourth.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about me, you, and Hash. Hash is platinum.
I'm platinum in solo duo, so it's fine.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, you will always be able to lord that over.
Classic league.
Well, I think it just carries over. They're like, all right, well, he's a platinum normal player. Why don't we just let him be playing in plat games in TFT?
Okay.
I mean,
Sure.
as
Maybe
long as
that's
I
it.
don't go pirates, I physically cannot place eighth.
Yeah, pirates.
I do feel
Pirates
like
are
every time I go
a little
Pirates,
loose right now.
Pirates every time
you-
I go to go get like first though.
Well, every
It's really
time I
rare.
go it, I get last.
Well, so you've got to know your transition points for a couple of the comps that have like a really decent start, and pirates don't. What they do have is a really decent economy when they start, obviously, right? They're just shitting out gold for you,
Oh yeah.
but they do not survive too well. They don't fight very well. I mean, you're sitting there with like a level 1 GP forever. He's not doing a whole lot. Uh, so like you have to know when to be able to transition off that correctly. And I think that when you're still learning, like, what does this item do? What do these comps do? Like, it's kind of hard to add that layer.
hmm
Yeah, I think
So it makes sense to
like,
me that you're really struggling with pirates if like they're kind of on their own, a little bit weak, and you have to know when and how to transition.
Mhm.
I feel like that's like what makes good TFT players is when to transition and when to not
Who has to
transition.
transition, when to transition, and the other thing that I just picked up this last week, where I started backsliding a little bit, got stuck in a bit of a ranger rut, and found a new comp that I could fiddle with. But the thing that the comp told me, or taught me rather, was what items translate beautifully from like the beginning of the game to the mid to the late. So you stick them on some guy that you know you're getting rid of, but it's
hmm
great on that champion, and then it just transfers 2 or 3 times for the rest of the game, and it's
Right.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Mid, late, whatever. So like
Ash,
identifying those items is huge. It's just gonna bump you up like multiple levels.
let me ask you a question, Ash. Being the highest ranked of all of us,
Oh Jesus.
much higher, two whole what is it,
Okay.
divisions or
Yeah,
tiers
yeah,
above
yeah.
Astros.
All right.
But one thing I've been trying to do that brought me like out of silver into gold was trying not to focus on building like a specific comp as much as just actually like getting good units that work together well. Like maybe like last game for example when me and Astros played, I started out with nobles and I was getting a lot of nobles. I got a lot of decent items on Lucian and um, Garen had some good items and all that. And it was a decent noble comp, but I didn't get any Leonas. So instead of going straight
Okay.
nobles, I kind of went into nobles. I got 2 rangers with kindred. I had Mord for the night bonus. So I kind of had this like smorgasbord of random synergies, but I didn't have anything like you know golded or whatever.
And how did you do? How did you do?
I came in second. I
Okay.
I think I got kind of lucky. I probably should have came in third. I got the clone twice near the ends, and
That'll happen. What
yeah.
do you think was your carry at the end of the game?
I mean, Lucian I had double red buff and Zeke's on, and he was 3 stars.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I feel like he was
Lucian's
really
rarely gonna be that, I guess, outside of a
yeah,
gunner, but he's a super good
exactly.
champion.
Yeah. So
The awkward thing is like he ran triple rangers, double gunslingers, double
right.
glacial,
I
double
just had a
knight,
ton of random synergies. So
double
I guess my
phantom.
question
So
for you, Hash, would be,
yeah,
is that like a valid strategy? Because I feel like when I'm stuck into, I need to get, ninja assassin, or I need to get gunslinger knight, or whatever, whatever comps I'm running, I get so like stuck in
yeah,
just
yeah,
buying
yeah.
those units, and I
You
want to get
basically you spend yourself out of the game
right. Do you think
trying to
that's a
get a
valid
bunch of
strategy
level
though?
one.
Do you think it's a valid strategy to try to like just go random synergies and have like 5 or 6 uh you know 2 or 3 unit synergies rather
I
than
I think
two?
the game right now is in a state where it's actually as far from synergy based as you possibly can be.
Okay.
Like, okay, so Karthus got nerfed a little bit today. We'll see if it shakes out, but like, if you get Sork behind Karthus, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you can do anything to protect him, like that's a carry. That's a late game. Just you're gonna win if you have a level 2 Karthus. You're gonna win if you have a level 1 Karthus that you find out how to protect and you get the right items on him.
I don't know, man. I think he's gutted now because level 3 Karthus can't hit 13 units anymore.
Yeah, nice meme, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like,
I really don't know why I invited him on this episode.
I know. I said
The
that joke
point-
before we started recording. I was so proud of it that I wanted to say it again. I've been waiting to work it in the entire time.
the point I'm kind of driving at, and it's one that I'm mimicking. This isn't something I figured out. It's something I read from multiple Grandmaster Challenger players posting, and then subsequently getting deleted because there were too many copycat posts where they were all saying the same thing, which was like identify what's going to win you the game, and then build something around it that supports them. If you get a buff, rad, that's awesome, but don't like go from
Radical.
yeah, like awesome, dude. Like, don't burn your entire economy. Like, don't do really well early when you get that super rad like noble comp start with 2 items like a Morello's and a GA or something like that, right? You think you're doing great, right? Or like a red buff on your Lucian and a static shiv. It's looking really good. And then you're like, man, I want to be a protect the Draven comp. I've got a bazillion gold. We're gonna play 6 Blade Masters. Like, it's it's not happening outside of silver. It's you're going to tank your economy. You're not going to find the percentages of you finding the right units don't shake out with how much gold you could possibly have at any point. So
Hear that, Astros? There's hope for you, man.
I mean, like,
You
Genso,
can get
shut
out of
up.
silver with that.
Like, I just haven't played a lot of actual ranked TFT in general. Um, but thank you for your concern of
You're
my
welcome, man.
elo and
Yeah, yeah.
trying to improve me as a player.
That's what I'm here for, Astros.
I think the biggest thing about, like, especially right now, because if you go back to like when ranked first dropped, it was really based on like synergies, like
Mm-hmm.
6 ninjas with assassins, and then you had
yeah,
Yordles be
they
really
hit that
strong
one.
for a
They hit
while.
that one pretty hard though.
Oh yeah, I like just over like the past couple patches, it's been like the go-to strategy has been like getting that triple stack. And then there's always like the other strong strategies, like stacking Draven is always going to be viable. Running Glacial is always going to be strong. Just from what, for the most part.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's not the best thing you could run, but it's not running.
It can scoot you into a lot of third and fourth places.
Yeah.
But you're
all you
probably
need.
not winning the game with it.
I think like one of the biggest things that when it comes to switching to a game like TFT or even like auto chess for that reason is understanding like the economy of the game, uh, which is definitely like probably one of the most interesting learning curves when learning how to play. Because you can't form a
Yes.
team or even place like top 6 if you just don't understand eco.
That's true. And I think that's a very if you haven't played any game like this before, I think it's a really hard thing to just pick up when you're already overloaded with information, where it's like, oh, how many champions do we have? 50 some? I don't know what the exact number is,
I
but
think it's
it's a
50.
lot. You know, we've got
There's like 60, I thought now, right? I could be way off on that.
I don't think it's up to 60 yet, but
we have like 14 different origins. We've got 10 different classes, and being able to even figure out what all of those are and how to make them is a lot
And
of
they're adding
information.
more next batch.
I think that like anyone starting out, if they want to start making a rank climb and they haven't played a game like this, like just lose a lot. Figure out what everything is first. Don't think about econ. Don't think about items. Um, get a handle on some of the basics first, and be okay like taking some hard losses, and then start looking at like what's a transition point, which comp has a transition when, and then your econ thing can come into play. When I think Blake talks about this a lot. What is it? Unconscious competency kicks in
Yep.
for all the baseline information like items and origins and classes and what each champion does. I think otherwise you're not gonna have a good time.
I think
Yeah,
the good.
real quick to kind of derail this conversation a little bit to go back to a point, and I think it would be good to come back to econ basics like after we go through this. But I just wanted to ask you guys what you thought about how do you think it. Do you aim for third or fourth, or do you aim for first when you play? Because fourth, a lot of times you're getting LP. Third, you're definitely getting some. But do you guys like play to win, or do you just play not to lose LP?
I feel like
Podium
I didn't
finish.
even know. I didn't know how to win up until like this week, to be honest. I mean, sometimes it happened, but I didn't know why it happened. Right?
Just
Yeah.
hit
Like,
that
because I was still
podium.
learning. I was still learning all that baseline stuff. Now I think I have a better grasp of it, and I'm always shooting. Because sometimes you're just. I mean, there's some luck in the game, right?
Right.
You're just gonna have like a bad 8th or a 7th every once in a while. Always shoot to win. I don't think it's worth it to. Once you have a grasp on all the items and the champs, and
Gotcha.
you feel like you're ready to climb, don't do anything but try to find that comp that's going to win you the game.
Astros, what do you think?
I think it
But
really
that's
depends
how I
on.
enjoy the game. Like I'm not telling you how to enjoy it, but
Yeah.
I think it really depends on like what I get, like within my by second carousel. I know if I'm actually competing for first, second, or if I'm competing for third, fourth.
oh, get the fuck out of here. You haven't even hit your first transition point. Come on, man.
It's
Ooh.
really dude. Like it's based on items. It's like how much HP have I lost? Where am I at eco
Okay.
wise? Fine, we'll say third
Okay,
carousel.
I will say that by okay, fine.
Astros
By
is just an
second
elite gamer.
carousel, if you just have like if you went gold, 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 gold on all of your little PVEs, like rounds,
Can
you
Hmm.
that
might
even
be in
happen?
trouble.
Well, it's not even
If it's
that. Like,
like,
if you get a roll where it's like your items are just awful, like in comparison to what you're being given. Like, say you get like really good items
yeah,
for
but
like
they're okay.
Rangers or
So
for Draven, but you're hitting zero Rangers and zero Dravens. Like,
you can still make those items work, and if you don't hit those items and you are rangers, you can still find a way to transition. It's really hard, but
well,
it's
yeah,
doable.
that's where it becomes: am I playing for top four or am I playing for top two?
I think that there are enough playable items in the game that you can transition a comp around what your items can do for you, and you can still go for a big dub, or at least a top two.
I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I really hate how like the game's playing right now. Like, I think
Okay.
early and mid game it plays really well. There's a lot of really good stuff, and then late game it's who's Draven or whose Karthus can carry harder.
Uh,
Yeah.
kind of. But if you start looking by that second or third carousel, you'll start to see where people are going. Make use of those 1 and 3 buttons, man.
Oof.
Just zoom around the map. You gotta do it, or
It's way
you're
too
just
much brain
giving up.
power.
You're giving up EV. You're just like, okay, like we probably have a lot of Magic players here, or poker. People are familiar with poker, right? Like this game is like poker if you were allowed to look at everyone's hand all the time. It's unreal. Like you just get full information if you want to take it. and you can play around that and draft a comp that is not being taken, and give yourself a route to that top 2. But you gotta press your 1 and 3 button to do that.
That's the hard part, man. Those buttons are really. I don't have the mechanics to play high level TFT. I'm an old man, Hash.
Okay, well, let's start with the 1 button.
Okay, I can do
Let's
that.
start there.
I might be able to press that once or twice.
Okay. Oh Lord! Did you play WoW and just click on your your abilities separately?
Oh, I was actually
clicking on
muted.
those abilities.
Yeah.
Do you guys actually use? Speaking of TFT mechanics, the high level of mechanics that are required. Do you actually use like ED and F for selling, rerolling?
Yes.
Well,
Absolutely.
my first game of TFT, I went in and I changed my auto chess keybinds, and I never changed my TFT keybinds. So I
Nice.
pressed E over top of my champion, and I sold my champion level 1.
That was not what you were looking for.
Oh.
But I ended up winning that game anyway, so it didn't
Yeah,
really
last
matter.
game I was trying to when it was just me and the last guy battle for first place. I was trying to call him the edgelord in chat because he was saying something really edgy, and I pressed E while hovering my 2-star swing that was fully stacked. And
that's the greatest way to learn what these buttons do, right? Just
exactly,
have a
man.
massive colossal fuck up.
It
You'll
was
never
really
forget.
nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was my favorite part of the TFT experience so far. I would have lost anyways, but I like to think that maybe there was a chance I could have won, and I get to blame it on my my fingers instead of my actual skill.
Your old man hands.
Exactly. All wrinkled up and rotting away, arthritis ridden.
I like how Jensos talks shit about me, but he's selling his carry unit.
I mean, it still came in second, so I'll take it, man.
You know, I had a bad draw. It wasn't my fault. Dude,
Astros,
my
I feel like
jungler
every
inted me. My jungler
literally
inted
every
me.
game we play together, whether it's Summoners or Rift or TFT, there's
No,
always something bad that happens.
my jungler inted me. No, I didn't hit BT, so I couldn't transfer into Draven last game. It felt so bad.
Oh,
I mean, that's not a necessity.
It's pretty important.
It's rapid fire that you really want, so that he doesn't drop his axes. He can stand still and just
Well, I didn't
fire
get
away.
rapid fire either.
Okay, well, that's...
Over the whole game, I had 2 recurves, and I made 2 statics for Ash.
Well, maybe we shouldn't bid on Draven then.
Well,
You
I
just
mean,
got dragons
I
the
got
entire
given
game.
a free Draven too. So like, what am I supposed to do?
He only got Negatrons the entire game.
Were you rocking some Blade Masters, or we rolling with the Drave?
I
Yeah,
didn't use it until like the last round. I like couldn't. There
That's
was
tough, yeah.
yeah, like
Usually, so when I've watched Draven comps get put together, actually, I watched Dog was coaching or advising or something with Hafu today, and he built a Blade Master comp with her, and the thing I learned from that was that a successful Draven comp doesn't seem to have Draven until the very last unit. You're working that entire game to either build a supporting cast that could then let you econ and find the Blade Masters, or you're just slowly picking them up, and you're not losing by much, and you're not winning by much. But you're trying to set up these comps that don't have these landslide losses, so that once Draven does come around, you've done the work to like put together this squad that is like, oh man, our savior's here. Now we just roll face.
I mean, I kind of
Instead
think
of like I was Rangers and Nobles. Boy, that was great until the mid game. Oh, a Draven. Like, that's just not going to work. It's not going to go well. And then you're relying on finding these perfect items that are highly contested. Forget about it.
yeah, I think like right now, if you're gonna run Draven, I just feel like running Imperials is better. I just feel like it's more consistent.
You absolutely want Imperial buddies.
Like I'd rather
But
run.
like you keep an eye on what's open though, because
Well,
those
yeah,
are units that people like, right? So you sort of slowly pick up the ones that are going to keep your team alive for a while. So Darius, awesome. Like if you think you just want to like lean that direction, just get some Night Friends and get Darius in there, right?
I also think like if you have to go the Blade Master route, like Aatrox and Shen are super good Blade Masters. I like to take Aatrox out once I get Yas, but
Ooh, no.
yeah.
I was a big fan of Aatrox for a while, but
Yeah. Is he kind of fallen off? I haven't played Aatrox
Uh,
in a long time, but
kind of.
well,
He still does a lot of damage, but Yasuo usually just like lives longer and is
yeah, and
able
like
to get more
without
damage out.
demons being as good as they were in the last
yeah.
patch, he
I just
like
feel like Yasuo
kind of
never does
lost
anything.
some of his
Mhm.
luster.
Yasuo
Yeah.
never does anything if you're looking for Yasuo to do something. The less you pay attention to Yasuo, the more he ends up
The
doing.
hidden blade.
But just throw a red
Works
buff
best
on
in
him
the
and ignore him,
shadows.
and
Hey, throw red, but
you're
you can
fine.
even throw Hush on him.
Sure,
Like
sure.
any on-hit item,
Okay.
Which,
pretty good.
by the way, I think the meta. I don't know if it's the right time to shift in that, but you brought up Hush, and I think that's like one of the best items.
It's
I
ridiculous.
think Hush and Static are super strong. GA is also super strong on your front line right
Hush,
now.
Static, GA, and Morellos. Those are the items that I'm like, Lord, please grace me with one of them at least. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that games are won right now with giant spells, for the most part. I mean, there's going to be exceptions everywhere, but like, I think almost every game I've won in the last week has had either an Aurelion Soul or a Karthus cackling at my opponents, and when I get beat, it's some big spell. It's a Cho'Gath with a Morellos and a GA, like just stomping around the field, never dying, going ult, 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 ult.
Romping and
So
stomping.
yeah,
Yep.
if you can hush those big spells,
Mm-hmm.
I think you're giving yourself a really good chance to win in this current meta.
Yep.
Or
Even
just
if you don't have those big boom boom spells, like you might be able to just grind them out as long as you can keep them shut up.
how long until assassins become usable again? Because I like playing assassins just like I do on the Rift, and
Dude.
like
Oh, I want
literally playing
assassin
assassins
ninja.
Come
now.
on, man! The Void Boys are great.
Oh no.
You're not rolling with the Void Boys?
Dude, you know how awful it feels playing with fucking Rek'Sai?
Not
Not
terrible.
great. I mean, well,
If you get a void assassin though, it's pretty good.
Well, your Void
I like
Assassin
Void.
is Kha'Zix, and if you don't
I
hit
Yeah.
like
Kha'Zix 3, then it's just bad.
I
Well,
like
dude,
the
the
Void
game I
Brawler
got it, I
buddies.
got
I don't know what you're
yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, the game I did it, I got 3-star Kha'Zix with double Shojin on them, so it went pretty well. But yeah, I feel like Void's really good. I went Ninja Assassin earlier today, and I don't recommend that to anybody.
That hasn't been
I
good for a little while. Why
I
do we bring him
know.
on this podcast?
I
Oh,
got really
that's
excited though, because
it's a really
Ninja
hard comp
Assassin's
to
my
put
favorite
together,
comp.
and it kind of does nothing.
Well, I got it together pretty early,
And
and I
what
felt
happened?
I lost every round
Yeah,
after I got it.
yeah.
After like everyone outscaled me, it felt real
It's,
bad.
It's the same
mm,
with Elementalists now. Like
Hmm.
Elementalists will get you to like fourth place, and then after that, you just like
it's
fights
not.
go way
It
too
just
long for them to.
right. It's not where you want to be.
You don't
And
have
the
a good
big
enough
spells
hyper
go
carry
around your
either.
giant rock man. I mean, the big spells are just like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, and like Brand isn't as good as a hyper carry as everyone thinks.
No.
He's
Uh,
fine, but he's the worst of the big spell boys.
yeah, I mean you have Anivia, but it's like awkward because her ult can be really bad.
She just doesn't hit the whole squad.
Yeah,
So
I just like RNG
yeah, every
roll.
once in a while she's like, ooh, Spiderling.
Yeah, it's like, oh, thanks Anivia, couldn't have killed that without you.
Which I mean that's a bit of a misnomer because nobody's shitting out Spiderlings anymore. That's I think Elise is probably the worst champ in the game right now.
I think it's good early.
Yeah, they buffed her up and they made her a 1-star a while ago. So
Yeah, yeah. So she
I
was
don't.
great when demons were playable, but now she
Yeah,
has no place to be.
yeah, that's true. I don't think she's the worst like individual unit, but I think she's probably one of the worst to go with actual comp.
Yeah, she doesn't fit
At
into
least
any
TF
comp.
goes somewhere. Like he can be a supporting cast member in Sorks or Pirates until you sell him and get something
Ugh.
better.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, there was a build going around of like Aesol TF and
Yep.
Vigar where you
Oh,
just
you hit that blue card and you start
oh yeah,
cranking
you
out the
hit the blue card
mana.
and you just win the game. If you don't hit
Shojin
blue
TF.
card, because I think it's not Sojin, it's Rapid Fire and Archangels,
Sure.
and if he blue cards instantly, like your Aesol, your Vigar, and your
Just
Morgana
pop
all
off.
get to ulti instantly,
Oh.
and you just like win the game.
And if he gold cards or red cards,
Well,
Yeah,
get
you just
then
fucked.
you
lose the
don't
rounds.
win the game. Yeah.
You hope
You
to
win
God.
one out of every 3-round instantly.
That's perfect for TF. If you're a gambling man, get
Mm.
at it. Go for
Yeah.
it.
I like how like open the mid game is. I just wish the late game
But like,
matched.
yeah, it really does feel like you've got to pick the hyper carry.
Yep.
So let's identify them, right? Like, I want to make sure I'm not missing any, but the ones that I think like you really are looking to keep your eye out for to keep alive, firing as many spells as possible. Obviously, Karthus, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Aurelion Soul could do that
Mhm.
job too.
Cho'Gath.
Uh, Cho'Gath. Those are sort of the big three
Yep.
that I'm just always keeping an eye out for. But then like some other decent ones, I see Shiv carries kind of pop off.
I
Right.
think that's kind of down now with the increase of Morello. Just because it used to be you stack
Uh, Warmogs
Warmogs, yeah.
and right,
Well, now they're
Warmogs and
also
Thornfelt.
dropping Morello down from 25% to 20% burn damage this patch. So
I think
it's
that's correct. I think Morello's
yeah.
was a little too strong.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It still stops the healing because like a lot of the
Right.
ship builds were Morello and then like
yep.
BT or Gunblade or
I think a
Mm-hmm.
good Gnarl just can
Oof.
shit wreck a fight.
Gnarled into
So
Cho'Gath ult is a ridiculous combo.
can I just say I
sure.
think Poppy is the best 3-star unit in the game?
Really.
Why is that?
I
I've never
just
seen a 3-star Poppy, so I don't know.
no, like not 3-star. Blue.
Free
Blue.
cost.
Oh,
Yeah.
three cost, three cost.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
especially early. Her ulti is super good, especially at if you get her to 2-star, because it doesn't just hit one target, it'll go all the way through. Um,
I like her a lot. I like the fact that she's a knight, and
Yep.
so that knight bonus in the mid game can just keep you econing,
yeah, I
just the
think
same way that brawler four brawlers
yeah,
was doing in the
I
last
think
patch.
Brawlers still is viable. Just because it's
They're
still really hard to get through all the HP that you have if you have 4 Brawlers.
yeah, you just gotta transition to something that's gonna carry you.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I
Rangers, everyone fucking still loves Rangers, so it's a bit harder to
I
put.
hate playing Rangers, can I just say that? It's so unfun. If you don't hit Kindred too, you just lose the game.
yeah.
uh, it could feel like it could feel like that.
Mm-hmm. Knights Brawlers is been really enjoyable. I don't know how strong it is, but it's like what I want to go every game, and
Really.
it feels
And
really
soon
bad though if you.
Gensos will be in silver.
I,
Here's what I want to go every game, and I've been
Well,
doing it for the last
let
week.
me preface it real quick with if you
Okay.
don't get an early Ionic Spark, it feels awful.
Well, that's
And
the
it's
same for any knight or any brawler start. Ionic Spark
Okay.
is literally the best starting item in the game.
It falls off so hard though. I
Oh
like
yeah, it
really want to
does.
avoid making that thing because it feels like such a waste of two
oof,
items.
but early with Knights and Brawlers.
But like you can do better, man. Like
I know.
you can
But
find
it's
a
so
way
much
not
fun.
to waste. You can.
It's so enjoyable.
Yeah, you got me there. You got me there.
Trying every round until like third, fourth carousel, never
All right,
winning anything, never
I haven't
losing.
seen that thing in a hot second. Are they still letting that fire off the bench?
No,
Okay, so that's
I'm
been
pretty sure they took that away,
okay.
which is really nice.
It was kind of funny watching it when it was allowed.
Yeah, it's just like on one hand you're giving up the stats on a champ you have actually out there, but on the other
But
hand
it's
it just
always
fires
firing
off the
as long as
entire
you're
game.
alive.
Yep.
I think that was the trade-off because if your Ionic Spark champion dies when he's on the field, he's useless. But if you just leave it on your bench and it does damage inevitably or indefinitely until the
Mm-hmm.
round's over, it's just always more efficient.
Um, all right. Are there any other like big bad carries that
I
we
mean,
want
I still
to
think
mention?
Draven is a really good
Oh, and
carry
Draven.
if you have
Yeah,
the
sure.
items for
If
him.
you build the team around him,
And I think Ashe
sure.
is really good too with the double shove.
Yes,
But you have to
I
have
would put
Rangers.
her. Yeah, I would put her at the lowest on the like solo. This is the raid boss of my team.
I don't think she's a raid boss. I just think she offers a lot more in terms of other than just damage, which is like kind of super
Sure.
important.
Yeah, no, she's got a great ult and firing a bunch of extra shots with those shivs is gonna keep it going. So
Yeah.
I like her a lot. She's in the comp that I run pretty regularly.
You just have to get. I feel like she's so situational. Like she requires so many items, and you have to get a little bit of glacial around her. You have to get rangers around her.
No. You know,
I don't know.
all you need is a Leona and a Braum. That's it. That's
Yeah.
all you
I
need
don't know.
for Ash.
Guardians feel kind of like right now, to be honest. They only feel good into assassin players, which if any assassin player is getting top four, your lobby is just like.
I think every game I've won this week in Plat has had a Guardian.
I think Guardians are strong, but they're not as strong as they
I
were
say I
like
say Plat
last
like
week.
it's amazing, but like just for where I am, it's feeling pretty.
No, it definitely will feel good. Uh, it's
But
just
I'm
like
I'm usually looking for those like let me just stay alive just long enough to get some boom boom ult off, and then your whole team's dead. And so like
Oh,
Guardian gets me
yeah.
there.
yeah, Guardian really good into assassins and really good. It kind of saves you from like the super early stacked frontline units, whether that's the Yasuos or like an Aatrox.
Hmm.
They kind of
It
they'll
makes it
take the
so much
brunt
harder
of
for
it.
them to run right through your front line.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm trying to be. So I
Also,
really
why
like
GA is
Guardians.
so strong right now.
Got a little nerfy poo though.
I mean, it's still really good on your front line.
It's still pretty good.
Do we want to run through that patch? Do
Let's
we
do
have
it.
any?
Let's go through the patch notes.
I think
Alright.
that sounds like a really great idea, Astros.
Do we want to go champions first or items first?
Champions.
Champions are first
Alright.
in the patch.
Alright. You know, some people like going over. Fuck you. Alright. Blitzcrank. They fixed the bug so that other allies properly prioritize the target of Blitzcrank's abilities again. So this will pretty much make it so, like, when Blitzcrank pulls the carry into your team,
They're
the
actually
units
dead.
around it
They're
will
not just
actually
gonna
hit it.
like be like, oh, I'm a cat. I'm here to party now.
It feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got fucked by a Blitz 3 last game who hooked not the farthest unit for some reason. It was
I
real
remember
good.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You were
his
you were
targeting
really
is
excited about it.
still gets goobered when the furthest target at the beginning of the match is an assassin. He gets really confused.
Well, my Leona was my farthest unit, but he didn't feel like pulling Leona because my Leona was useless. I also had a Leona just ulti a blank space on the board last game, so that was fun.
It's unfortunate.
It wasn't even like she ultied a unit and the unit died. She just
Yeah.
ultied nothing.
Just look over there, squirrel.
Yeah.
All right, Elise.
Yeah. Speaking of the best champion,
Right.
Elise attack damage from 40 to 45, Spiderling attack damage 40 to 50. I mean,
Still worse in the game.
She's back, boys.
I think if you get her early, she works. If you get her a 2-star by the end of creep round, she's fine. Because if she gets to Spiderling,
I guess she can keep you alive, but like, man, the shapeshifters early are just doo doo brown to me. And
oh, I agree.
I think that her not having a place to go after that initial like, ooh, I have a L2 and you don't, so I win. You know, the first 2 rounds or whatever.
Hmm.
It's pretty bad.
Oh yeah, I think it's super situational and a very small window of when she's actually usable in a comp.
Yep.
Karthus ability damage from 400, 700, 1000 to 350, 600, and 850. So
I agree with all of this.
yeah, and they also lowered his
A lot of
targets.
games were coming down to who gets a Karthus, who gets a Karthus 2,
Yeah.
and then that's how you win. So
Karthus used to be able to target 9 units at level 2 and 13 units at level 3. He now can only target 7 at level 2 and 9 at level 3. Which, I mean, 7 is
yeah,
still...
whatever. You hit level
Yeah.
2, you're hitting 7. What
It's
fine.
over half the board.
I mean, most of the time this guy's gonna have he's gonna have a Sork on it, not a Sork, a item or 2 on him, firing
Yeah.
that all fast, and like your team's gonna be able to mop up the rest of it. So
And what it doesn't hit one person at level 2. I mean, realistically, you're gonna have 8 units on a really good game. You're gonna have 9.
Hmm.
right. Yeah,
So yeah,
I think bringing him in line with every other like boom boom ult champion is healthy
Yeah.
for the game.
I mean, I still
Right.
think his raw damage is going to be plenty fine to keep him as probably the best legendary unit in the game.
Yep.
Mhm.
Unless, like, Imperials become super good and then Swain probably. Actually, Kale's really good, but...
Well, that is the
Kale's...
next champ.
Yeah, Kale's mana required to activate her ulti went from 100 to 125. Um,
I like this. I saw a lot of rounds where they were just ending with Kale being like, "Hey, look, I'm ulting. Okay, I'm done. Hey, look, I'm ulting. Okay, I'm done.
Again?
Hey, look, I'm ulting." Like,
Oh
Kale
my God.
2 is
those
super
are
broken. If you hit Kale 2 and you get, like, Archangels on her,
those are really not fun to play against.
yeah, It's really
Yeah.
hard to lose that game.
You have to try. You
Like
have to sell all your units and put 3 in. I mean, and then you still
you
might
have
win.
to sell
Just
you
your
have to
kale.
sell your kale,
Yeah.
like Gensos did
So I think
No,
to
no, I still
Swain.
have Swain.
I
Yeah,
said
yeah.
to Swain.
I know.
I think that's fine. I think adding 25s
Yeah, I don't think it.
seems healthy.
I mean, it kind of sucks because it just makes Noble even less viable. But oh well. I hate playing against Noble. Uh,
I mean, she's still gonna be a really good unit if you get 6 nobles.
Yeah, she's
she's
fine.
one
And
of the
you,
best standalone units. Like I think it's her, Yasuo, and Karthus are like the best standalone units. Just because Yasuo is always useful, Karthus is broken, and Kale's ulti is just really strong.
it's weird. Wasn't like that a couple patches ago with Kale. She was like the worst standalone legendary.
Yeah,
I feel like at
Yeah,
least.
I don't know that I'm in love with Kale standalone, but by the time you're at the end game, her something she's doing is probably fitting into part of your comp. So
Yeah.
I think right now it's partially just goes with the games dragging on and rounds are ending instantly, like they were in like the
yeah,
assassin meta.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of assassins,
Like,
Pike
yep.
stun duration from 2, 2.5, 3 down to 1.5, 2, and 2.5. So half a
Half second
second
off.
I'm
at every level.
gonna be honest. I haven't seen a lot of pikes
I mean, I don't
in
see
a
him
while.
after.
Assassins and gunners falling a little bit. Like assassins falling out of favor, and then gunners really sort of sliding. Haven't seen a lot of pikes show up.
He's
So
a ridiculous strong mid game unit though. Early game and mid game, he can just take over.
I think if
And
you hit Pike 2, I think Pike
yeah,
1 is pretty bad, and then the difference between Pike 2 and Pike 3 is negligible. I don't think it's
right.
worth
I
the
do think
gold.
he definitely got buffed by demons getting nerfed into the ground.
Oh, for
Hmm.
sure.
I think
So
a lot
he
of
can't
people
just
got buffed.
he can't leap forward and then instantly be like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna just not do anything." See ya.
I think the issue with Pike now is there's not really any pockets to jump into to hit like a really good ult.
Hmm.
So it
People
makes him
do
really
like the
awkward to
honeycomb.
play. Yeah.
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 All right.
Rangar ability attack speed bonus from zero point 0.4, zero point 0.7, and 1 down to 0.3, zero point 0.5, and zero point 0.7. So zero
So
point
I don't
0.1, zero point 0.2, and zero point 0.3 nerfs.
have a whole lot of context for this nerf. I've seen people try to load him up and
He's
watch
a
him just run into
yeah.
a wall and die. So
He's a really
there
good
must
unit
be
to
a
load up.
point in the game that I'm just not a part of where he's ridiculous.
If
He
you
can really
hit,
pop off, but you
yeah,
have to get like, I mean, you have to load him up, and he can like 1v5 carry or whatever 1v9
he
carry
can, but you
as
need
an
wild
assassin.
bonus. You need full wild
Exactly,
bonus, and it's
and
like
it's
Okay.
yeah. You don't need
I
it's
full wild
see
bonus. You just need another wild out there.
no, you need
watching
4.
challenger streams. I see plenty of people go wild when they're sort of flipping around the map looking at all the comps.
Hmm.
Yeah.
At my level, I have not seen almost anybody running it.
I think
Yeah.
wild.
Why do you think they need full wild Astros? Because that doesn't wild. I mean, do they change it? 2 wilds gives you the bonus for every wild unit. Then 4 gives you the bonus for every unit.
Cause
It's
so
2 and 4, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
2 and 4. The reason why I think like the 4 wild makes the really big difference is, um, like the way he's stacking it. It allows him to do so much extra damage because I think it stacks faster.
I don't think so. I think it just gives it to everybody if you get the 4 units. And that's why I think he's strong is because you only need an R or you only need whatever other wild you're getting.
Yeah, maybe. Let me see. Let me pull up wild, 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 wild.
I mean, we could just concede that I'm right and move on because he got nerfed. Can we do that?
The faster you attack, the faster you gain mana and deal damage. Also has a great spread of units, and it makes
You're reading like the color text.
yeah.
For...
The faster he auto attacks, the faster he gets to jump and actually crit.
Right. But he gets the bonus. What I'm saying is he gets the bonus whether you have 2 wilds or 4.
I think you're mixing up his ability and the wild bonus.
I know the wild bonus increases attack speed, which allows him to increase mana, which allows him to jump, which is where his crit actually lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
I'm
high
gonna, I'm
quality
gonna say go.
content.
I'm gonna say go
Okay.
for wild because
All right.
I just said so.
Yeah, yeah.
Vigar ability damage. He got a buff at rank 2 and rank 3. 50 damage at rank 2 and 100 damage at rank 3.
Are we just skipping my boy Twisted Fate?
There is no
Is he
buff
in
to
there?
TF.
Do you have a secret patch list?
I
9.15B.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I had TF going from 450 to 500 health, and his damage going from 40 to 50.
Are you on the official league?
I just
Like the
refreshed. I don't see that.
yeah.
Well, maybe. Okay.
What patch notes are you looking at? I just shot you the ones I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'll go over there.
Yeah, those are the ones I'm looking at. This doesn't do much to Vigar. It just makes it so if he's not higher, he does a little bit more damage.
He actually does something.
Instead of hitting you with a feather, he hits you with 2 pieces of paper. I don't
Ooh.
know.
Get some paper cuts from that, but a feather you can get salmonella from.
Yeah, he's like fine as a sork. Like you really want to hit those 3 sorks for like Aurelian or Karthus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want him to do nothing. So
If he lands
Are
that
Yordles?
execute damage, he's good.
Yeah. Are Yordles still any good at all?
Uh,
a lot of my endgame comps usually end up with 3 Yordles.
Okay.
what are your 3 Yordles?
Poppy,
Poppy.
Vigar, and Lulu.
Okay.
And every once in a while, people just don't want to buy cannons, so I buy cannons.
I think Kennen fell out because elementalists like aren't good right now.
Yeah, but cannon on his own with the Morellos is still
Yep.
just
Oh,
he's
I,
gonna
I think he's still super useful.
he's
Yeah.
gonna dunk a front line, and so if the game is just feeding me cannons, I'm gonna take a level 2, throw a Morellos on him, and I'll run it until it feels like I need to swap to something else.
I
For
got a
sure.
level 3 cannon with a ghost blade when I was running assassins, Morello, and something else. I don't remember what it was. Archangels maybe on one game. And that
Yep,
felt real good.
great.
So, oof.
All right,
Just
so
reminiscing about old times.
that's it for units. GA, Guardian Angel. Health on restorations going from 1k to 800.
I think it's fair.
Wow. I think I've gotten away with too much abusing of that
I
item.
don't think I've used enough abuse in TFT. The only time I abused like the meta in TFT was when assassins were strong, but I was going assassins before assassins were strong.
It's going at assassins before was cool.
Wow. Okay, cool, sweet. We got a TFT hipster.
Pretty lit. Well, it's like all I knew how to play when I played auto chess was assassins. I didn't know how to build anything else.
He says as he waxes his mustache and drinks a craft IPA.
Craft? What are you talking about? He's chugging Peeber over there.
Oof.
I am
Either way.
underage. Let's keep this. Let's keep
John
this
would not
legal.
approve.
Ginsu's Rage Blade attack speed per stack from 4% up to 5%. I still don't think it's worth using your recurve or your large rod.
Yeah, my large rod should be going elsewhere. Like into even a nerfed Relinomicon.
Good one, Hash.
Morellonomicon going down from 25% burn damage to 20. I don't think it guts the item. I think it's still
Still
super
good.
good.
It's still gonna do its job. It's not allowing him to heal. It's still getting a lot of extra burn damage in. Love it. I think it's reasonable to nerf. It was a little too good.
Phantom Dancer now allows the holder to dodge critical strikes from abilities. So I guess that's like, does Akali? I know there was it a bug where Akali's ulti was critting?
Yeah.
Or is that as intended?
Well, it can crit. It was just critting 100% of the time at the beginning of the last patch.
It was a bit much.
Yeah. It was the old Pike with the frozen hearts.
So this literally just nerfs assassins even more.
Yep.
Yikes.
Something worth mentioning about Ginsu's. Sorry to go back, a little callback here, but it's a lot of fun to watch a Kassadin with a Ginsu's.
Oh my god, I hated that back when like Kassadin was in like everybody's comp until like after Wolves. Dude, I hate playing again. It was like Kassadin with Rageblade and Revolver.
Sure.
Not Revolver.
No, it was defense items after that, right? Like
no,
Phantom
it was the
Dancer.
double. It was the double.
Oh yeah, RFC.
Yeah. And he just like drain your mana from 3 blocks away, and I'm like, oh, this is lit.
Mr. Steelio mana. Anyway, Rude Dance?
Yeah, you want to do it?
Bonus damage 25% to 75%. I think this was a doo-doo unplayable item. The only time you ever got it was when a dragon was like, "Hey, buddy, have a rune dance."
How did it? I mean, I still
And
don't understand how it works.
It just adds an extra auto. It's like,
yep,
So you
um,
get pretty much 75% more damage.
so here's the thing.
from one unit.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was watching Skara's stream before this, and Skara had Draven with Hurricane, Static, and BT.
That sounds terrifying.
His thing was averaging 10k damage around,
That's
Yeah,
insane.
with
yeah.
everything else doing like
And
less
then he's
than
probably
1k.
getting Imperial buff too, right?
Yeah, he has
Blade Master
Imperial
Imperial
buff
buff. Yeah,
and Blade Master. It was disgusting.
yeah, yeah. It sounds very hard to beat.
I think it's usable now in situations on certain
Yes,
carries.
I think you can. I mean, if you've got a static stacked Ash, probably good on there too.
Yeah, I could see it being good on
If you're running a Ranger comp.
yeah, I could see it. No, I can't see it being good on Varus. Static Shiv fixed an issue where it would deal more damage than intended when less than 4 targets were available. I still think
Yeah,
Static Shiv is broken.
it's probably just fine.
Yep. It's supposed to be an early game item too, and I feel like it just carries all the way through the game.
Yep.
Ridiculously
I
strong.
I think they might have been able to touch on the numbers a little bit on that
Yeah.
damage it does. I think, like, if you run into an opponent more than once, which I mean happens every once in a while, if you just run into an opponent period with a static shiv off the first like item creep wave, you're not probably not winning.
Yeah.
It's like it's just a free roll for them for a while, and I
Right.
don't. Maybe that's supposed to exist, but it kind of feels bad.
Because Astros, you were running double static when the game we played before this, and you were wrecking me every time we met.
And to be fair, that's also the same with Morellos. If you run into like a
Yeah.
Garen with Morellos after the
Ugh.
first, like, forget about it. You're not.
Yep.
You're probably not winning that.
Mm-hmm.
And another useless item, Sword of the Divine, chances to activate 5% up to 7%.
Oh, cool, neat.
I built it last game on the Kindred, and I really wish I hadn't built it.
Well, there was a bug for a while where Sword would just insta-activate.
That's nice.
Yeah, it made
Definitely
it
wasn't
actually
happening.
like a useful. I think
Yeah.
I ended up with one from a Dragon Drop and I threw it on a Kali or Kha'Zix or something, and it worked.
That's good. Yeah.
It activated, but
Yeah.
Eventually, at some point during some rounds, it did activate.
And there's one bug fix. Fixed a bug that delayed players loading into the game until after the first carousel. This was fixed last week. Oh, I guess they fixed that.
yeah, I had a lot of friends that were running into that, so I'm glad that's fixed.
Yeah, I ran into that after this patch, so I don't know.
Gensos just didn't patch his client
Yeah,
forehead.
probably. I accidentally turned off my computer while we were loading in, and then forgot to turn it back on until after the first carousel.
I like this stuff, this patch as a whole. Tiny little patch. I like. We're getting a couple light touches here and there. They're sort of feathering the changes and not just like being like, "Hey guys, are you used to the game? All right, here's a new one." You know, like they're not totally rewriting it.
Yeah, I think they
So-
could have brought some of like the super top tier stuff down a little bit more, but
Yeah, is that kind of their MO right now? Is doing a full patch on the A patch, and then the B patch is kind of a smaller thing, or if they not come out and said anything about it?
I haven't read anything about their patch philosophy, but whatever
Okay.
is being done right now, I like it.
it seems
Yeah.
like that's been the thing where they release an like they released an A patch and a B patch in 9.14.
They let people adjust to it, and then they'll fiddle with numbers.
Yeah. Which I mean, I think it's the way to do it. I mean, because you're going 2 weeks in between each patch still, like
Yeah.
in between each major patch. I wish they would have brought like the top stuff down just like a little bit more, but I
So
think
that
it's still
means-
fine.
That means next week we're looking at the boys from Piltover, or
The
Boys and
Hextex,
What the Jace, Camille?
Jinx. Jinx is going to be another hyper carry like Draven, I think.
I'm gonna pull those up. Take a look at those. Oh, I really like the ability they have.
disarm
Being
items.
able to disarm items.
The one that they've
I think
changed
that's
every day on the PVE for the last week.
See, my issue
well,
with
yeah. We'll
that
see how
is
it
I
plays out,
think
but
it
like
Oh
like
my god, it's gonna be a
philosophically,
mess.
it appeals to me.
I feel
What?
like overall that you just have to run that in late game no matter what, because items are so prevalent.
Hmm. They had a bug the first day it came out on PVE where it would disarm or disable people's items, and then if they had two items, it would just delete one of them. It was really
Well,
exciting to watch.
Definitely
I'm
makes it
glad they
gold
caught that
efficient
one.
to
Yeah,
run that.
yeah, sounds great. But I'm excited about Vi. Vi seems really strong as a brawler. She has her ult pretty much. She goes the furthest target and knocks away everybody else. Um,
I think that's going to be
yeah.
I think
wildly inconsistent, but fun to watch.
I
Oh
think
yeah.
it's gonna be pretty strong depending on how consistent it is, because it'll break up that honeycomb effect.
Uh,
Yes. Hey, Carthus, buddy, what you doing over there?
I mean, I
Yeah.
think she's just gonna be a better Pike. She's gonna be a brawler Pike that actually sustains, doesn't do as
I
much
mean, I
damage.
think it'll be really cool if you can do the work to scout around the map, see who your scariest opponents are, and adjust your comp accordingly. And if this is a champ that gives you the opportunity to like flex your map viewing skills a little bit and your positioning a little bit more, I think that's awesome. I think that's becoming a really fun part of the game for me right now, where you're just like kind of juking your opponents a little bit. Um, so I'm looking forward to that.
I definitely do that too. I use my 1 and 3 keys every game.
Yep. See,
Yeah.
I just
everyone looks
sit
at
and look at
Astros.
all the champions that I get, and then I complain about the champions that I'm getting rolled, and then I look at my items and I complain about the items I have.
And then you
And then I
call up
place top four, and then I say this game's garbage, and I go play Minecraft.
then you call up John Carter from 2 weeks ago and be like, "Hey, can you help me manage my tilt? I went through my fourth keyboard today."
Oh gosh, Astros, I don't know what you're talking about. You are the most positive person with the strongest mental I've ever met. I don't think I've ever heard you complain once.
There's
So
just a pile of keyboards outside of Astro's window.
Honestly, I don't break keyboards. I can't afford to break keyboards.
sounds really
Yeah,
expensive.
that's fair.
I
That's
can't
fair.
afford to break keyboards and mice.
And my
You just break my
okay.
I broke a mouse one time, and then like I went and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
It's the most expensive rage,
That was a
baby
good-
rage I've ever had.
That's a good learning experience.
Well, the mouse I have right now is like $100.
Oh, Mr.
I-
High Roller over here.
Well, the
I-
thing
I-
is, they were limited edition, and now you can only buy them on resale, and it's like, dude, they're just so overpriced. Like, my dog ate one of them, and my
Oh, boy.
parents had to buy me a new one.
Which one
The-
is it? Is it that little
The
Logitech?
final mouse.
Okay.
Oh, those look kind of cool. I haven't used
They're-
one.
they're
I ended
nice.
up getting a decent Logitech that I've loved. I think it's the best mouse I've ever had.
See, that's what I said about my Logitech, and then I got this, and then, like, when my dog ate the mouse, I had to use my old one for a little bit, and I was like, I don't want to play anymore.
Hard no.
I ran over one of my coworkers' mice while he was out of town. And I was using his desk. It's some like old Aces based on a Logitech, and he was like really happy about it before I killed it. He told me all about it, but I just ran over the little USB port, and he threw it out, and I took it out of his trash can after I'd already bought him another mouse, and just like bent the middle back a little bit, and now it works. So that's my backup mouse, and I really enjoy it. But
This is really weird, is what I just got from that story.
is that I'm like fondling this mouse right now.
Okay.
Is there anything else we want to talk about? I'm pretty tired.
I really want to talk about my mouse more, Astros. I think you kind of cut me off there.
Mhm.
Jensos, do you have anything you want to say revolving around TFT or League of Legends?
No, I was just gonna ramble about the mouse until it came to a coherent conclusion.
Did they
and, like,
finish?
semi
Did they
good
finish?
story.
Is the tournament done yet?
I don't know, man. It looks like people just kind of quit after the second round.
It is long.
But
I said to do 2 games, but you told them
you
not to
also
listen
said
to
to
me.
do a terrible scoring system.
I hate you so much.
Uh,
Hash, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I guess just I would want to reiterate doing your best to find sturdy comps in the early game that you are comfortable transitioning out of and just play them into the ground. Get used to them. and identify what your carry is that's floating around in your carousel or in your pallets, and uh, zero in on what's going to keep them alive. And I think that if you do that and don't care quite as much about, boy, I got to be 6 blade masters this round or whatever, you're going to start to climb.
If you're a player who uses the fills bench before carousel, I hope you get hit by a car. But other than that, I have nothing
All right,
else I want
great.
to say.
Close it on that note.
I see the time with the esports mentality coach really helped you out, Astros. There's a noticeable difference in your demeanor, just positivity bleeding out of you.
I watched that Astros, and I was like, man, Jonathan, I saw you, and you just kind of rolled your eyes when I knew this would happen. I knew they were going to ask you, "Oh, Jonathan, how do we stop tilt? Oh, Astros is such a tilt monster." And he's been on. I've listened to multiple podcasts with him where that's the first thing anybody wants to ask him, and so he kind of explained to me why he rolled his eyes, and he said, "I just know nobody's gonna do the work. I have said it so many times, and nobody fucking does it."
I
And
mean,
here we are.
I
Here
played
we are,
like,
Astros.
what do you mean? I played like
Mm.
4 ranked games today. I like to think that our junglers today were awful. I want to say that, but I didn't like rage.
Okay, but no, that's not what he cares about. He cares about the time that he took to explain to you through his years
I
of
did some
experience what he
breathing,
learned
dude. I did
about
breathing.
mindful
I
behavior
breathed literally the
modification.
entire game.
Dude,
Okay, well that's good.
I did
Okay. That is
breathing
what
when
we
I
need.
died, all right?
That's really good.
I did the
Yeah,
belly
I
breaths.
inhaled,
that's
I
good.
exhaled.
All right,
It's
so
a whole thing.
you gotta say that, man. That's great. That's
I
positive
still did
feedback.
my thing where I would type my message and then I hit escape,
Uh huh.
so my message
That's
goes away.
All right.
But I had the
that's like
satisfaction of typing it.
it's like this thing middle school girls do when they write a note out and they burn it.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I
I
didn't know
think it
that.
is.
I've never
Maybe I
been a middle
just
school
maybe
This
I
is
girl.
just made that
Jenso's
up.
trying to be hip because he wants to fit in.
No, that's middle school is literally the only age I know
All
because
right.
that's my job.
I hope you all enjoyed the TFT episode. Maybe we can do like something like this again without Jensos and someone a little cooler.
Wow,
Please let me fit in,
toxic.
Astros. I just want to be part of the
Toxic.
group.
Let him be cool.
Ah!
I now have to devote my life into getting higher ranked than him in TFT. So the next week
Oh,
I will not be talking to anybody, and I'm gonna go hit Challenger.
All
good
right,
luck,
let's see it.
silver
Looking
player.
forward to it.
Can you let Hash know he's a scrub for me?
Oh
Austin
yes, we got one.
McMaster.
We got one in there.
Uh,
That's
Hash,
perfect.
you are a scrub.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming on, guys. I appreciate it, even if it was a little bit last minute.
Thank you for coming on, even though it was last minute Astros.
That was fun. I'm looking forward to doing it again next patch or whenever people want to hear us ramble.
Yeah, I mean, worst comes to worst, we can just do like a YouTube series if we don't have the space to upload it.
Yep.
All right.
All right, that was episode 245 of the TF Anonymous podcast. I thank you from your host, Jensos. I really appreciate everyone being here from the bottom of my heart.
I'm gonna write like 4 emails tomorrow while I'm at work about how
Dude,
horrible
YouTube
you are.
don't know how to sign off. Good night, everybody.